Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing good. In this video, we are using the terrazzo chips that were created when we made these trays. I think it was about a week ago now. We went crazy with Jesmonite. We made these crazy patterned trays, had loads of chips left. Let's use them up. So I am using this coaster mould. This mould is from Moulds and Shapes, and of course it will be linked down below. Now, when we tidied up, you saw in the video me tidying up and getting all of those chips off of the plastic. They are terrazzo chips, and I don't have many. I don't have that much. I don't think I have enough to create terrazzo coasters in the original style that I would usually do it, and that is to pack the chips completely into the Jesmonite. Pack as many chips in there as you can. Well, I don't have enough, so we are going for a new method of terrazzo. This is something I saw over on the Polysil Instagram, and what we're going to do is coat the moulds in Jesmonite and then lay the chips down into the Jesmonite. Now, I have tried laying chips down into moulds without anything on it, so laying chips straight into the silicone, and this just creates loads of air pockets, and honestly, I just wouldn't do that. It's just kind of a waste of time in my eyes. But again, that's just in my eyes. So we're going to try this new method. Disclaimer, we get really, really messy, so I had to trust the process on this project. I had to trust that I could bring these back to something beautiful and pretty, but yeah, here we are. We are laying down a thin coat of Jesmonite. This has been coloured with the Jesmonite black pigment. Remember, you can use up to 2% pigment to get that black. And already I know I've made too much, I've mixed too much, and I've poured it all into the moulds. So I knew there was a bit of a cleanup operation that had to happen here. I grabbed another mould quickly because we know this sets really fast. This sets within 5 minutes. This is the AC100, and it's super thick at this point. So I grabbed another mould, coated another mould with all of the excess from the coasters. And yeah, it was a messy one. I ended up going through all four, had way too much, made way too much, but I did manage to scoop out the majority of it, because all I want at this point is a really thin layer of Jesmonite in these moulds to make the most of the minimal amount of terrazzo chips that I have. So if you are new here, if you do not know, I have done videos on terrazzo before, and usually you create a lot of chips and you pack it into the Jesmonite. But yeah, this is the reason that I'm doing it this way. I didn't have many chips, so I couldn't do that. It was kind of gonna waste them, and they kind of get lost as well. If you pack it all in, they get lost. So I was planning on gently placing them down into the black Jesmonite. That just didn't happen. I had so much Jesmonite dust in here, terrazzo dust, and teeny tiny terrazzo flakes, and a mixture of big chunks and everything kind of mixed in together. So if you wanted to, you could sieve them, which I have done in the past. I've sieved my terrazzo, so I've ended up with terrazzo dust, terrazzo teeny chips, big chips, and giant chips. So you can if you wanted to do that, but I didn't do that. I decided I'm just going to create the most mess I've ever created making Jesmonite. So here we are. Look away now if you don't like mess. So the reasoning behind why this got so messy, and it's really because I had some Jesmonite left over. I didn't want to just pour it into another mould or waste it. You wouldn't want to waste it. So I scraped every single last drop that I possibly physically could out of the cup, and I figured I'd just pack it in there because, you know, why not? It's there, I might as well use it. And yes, it's crazy messy, but it was fun. It was so much fun. I do kind of love this. So the excess, you can see that there is, it's just dust really at that point. The bottom of the cup was really just dust. So I did sprinkle that into the other mould. However, I haven't shown that in this video because I actually ran out of sandpaper, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So here we are done. We are now back filling these with the rest of the Jesmonite. I'm not waiting for them to cure, I'm just filling them up as is. And of course, now this means that I've saved technically a lot of terrazzo. If this was a normal terrazzo video, I would just have packed them completely full of terrazzo chips. But like I said, I don't want to repeat myself. I'm repeating myself a lot here. I didn't have enough chips. And that is the logic behind this video. So I'm giving it a shimmy, giving it a shake. And it is crazy messy. I know the edges. Everything here is going to need sanding. Now, you know how much I love sanding. And I was already dreading the sanding process on these because it's not my favourite thing. I have to do a massive shout out to anyone who does Jesmonite Terrazzo as a business product. Like, I see so many stunning terrazzo pieces on Instagram and businesses that only work in terrazzo. Oh my gosh, hands up for you guys, massive clap, because I am not about this terrazzo life. I'm not. I love the results. I absolutely love the results of terrazzo. The process, absolutely not. Not my cup of tea at all. So here we are. We are on demold, and look at these. Absolute disaster. It's a disaster as in the holes are real. Now, people often ask me how they fix their holes in their Jesmonite, and honestly, I never really had an answer for them. I never had an answer. So big shout out to Steve Ellis, who actually asked me if they could be backfilled, very much like tiling. When you're tiling and you put your grout over with a squeegee, could we do that with Jesmonite Terrazzo to fill any holes? He was talking about my toadstool video. Could I fix the holes by adding more Jesmonite? And somebody else also mentioned it as well, so thank you as well. But I just messaged Steve and I was like, I don't know. But you know what? I'm about to do a terrazzo video, so we shall find out how we fix terrazzo and if it works. So here we are. This is where the sanding begins. I'm not going to show you the whole process of sanding. It was about an hour max because these chips were so close to the surface, I didn't have to take much off to reveal them, which for me was a win-win situation. And already I thought, oh, these holes are going to be huge. Absolute terrazzo disaster, basically. But nothing's really a disaster if you put your thought processes in motion. Something I struggled to do, but thanks to Steve, I don't have to think. I already knew at this point I'm gonna try Steve's method and see what happens. Also, yes, I could be wearing gloves right here, but I find it so much easier to grab the Jesmonite with my bare hands. I put gloves on, but yeah, when it's a slip and slide and you're wearing plastic gloves, it's even more of a slip and slide, and it was just a struggle. So here goes. Ready? Absolutely gorgeous. All of those chips, I really didn't sand for long, but all of those chips came through, and there they are. So they are the chips resulting from the trinket trays that we made last Saturday. And yeah, I'm really happy that they all came through. Sometimes when you do terrazzo the traditional way, you create your Jesmonite in a pot, you fill that pot with chips, mix it until they're fully coated. Sometimes it can take a while to sand before you see any chips coming through. Look at the disastrous surface. I was laughing at this point because I don't know what I would have done if I didn't read Steve's comment. Sometimes my brain doesn't think practically. It doesn't think, oh, could I fill those? I would have just looked at those and thought, oh, what a disaster. But here we go. We are now fixing terrazzo, and this is definitely going to work for anyone out there who has created holes in the terrazzo, which is only natural because it's going to create holes, terrazzo. Unless you've got a vibration machine that's really strong to get rid of all of those holes. Here we are. I have mixed up more Jesmonite, ratio 1 to 2.5 as always, and I am filling those gaps as if I am doing some, what do you call it, mosaic. As if I'm doing mosaic, or if I'm, you know, putting tiles on my wall and I'm grouting the gaps. I'm all up here with my technical terms. But I was so happy. Steve, thank you so much for suggesting I try this out. And of course, the other lovely who also mentioned it. And I'm going to put your name on the screen. I'm going to go back and find your name and put your name on the screen because I don't want to leave you out. You both suggested this to me. And it's working. Okay, here's the other thing. You could, if you wanted to, if you didn't want such a stark difference, which is what you'll see, I'm getting quite a stark difference because I'm using bright yellow. When I scrape it back, we've got some really visible yellow chunks. So it kind of can, if you think about it like that, throw it off. So you could use black. You could fill your holes with the backing colour of your piece, which is fine if it's just natural Jesmonite or a white or a black. Sometimes trying to get that same colour might be a struggle. So I figured I might as well just go with bright colours to add more colour into them than just using black. Also, black, oh gosh, creates such a muddy mess. So I used yellow and I was so happy. I was so happy it was working. There were a couple of moments on that yellow one where I did go back over and try again and scrape it so that it was flush. With the green, I just added some blue to the yellow to create a green. I spread it all on real thick, and I pretty much just did this to all three before scraping the green off because I figured it would just give it a little bit more time to kind of settle in. And yeah, I am buzzing at how much fun this was. It's definitely taken away some of the dread of making terrazzo because I have to be honest and say that out of all the terrazzo pieces that I've made, yeah, 100% of them, 100% of them have air pockets. Nothing as tragic. Nothing as disastrous as you've seen in this video. Obviously, we did a completely different method today. Nothing this disastrous, but they've all got air pockets. So the thought of being able to go back over now and fill them all and fix them all is really cool. Am I gonna? Absolutely not. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it because that's just another year's worth of sanding. But here we are. It worked a dream. So yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for your suggestion. I hope this has helped you. Yeah, because again, this is another question that I get a lot. How do I fix the holes in my terrazzo? And my general answer is you don't. You leave it because it's terrazzo and it's handmade with love, not perfection. And that is what I've always strived for. I still am. If I strived for perfection, honestly, I'd have no videos. Let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Here we are. Okay, we are done. We are going to let these cure 30 minutes and come back and sand. Right, this is 30 minutes later. I'm using 600 grit, super smooth 600 grit wet dry. I'm using the water again, and it doesn't take long for them to come back to beautiful. Here we are. It really didn't take long this time because there wasn't much on there, but all of the holes are filled. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You saw them at the beginning. The actual disaster that was huge craters, like moon-sized craters. And yeah, here's the yellow. Didn't take very long at all. I want to say 5 minutes of sanding it on the 600. Took all of that away. Absolutely no holes. So happy. The edges definitely need tidying up. And again, when you're doing this, I did end up sanding the edges back as well. And here is the final green. And after sanding, perfection, absolute perfection. Again, if you don't like those big blotches of random colour, you could have gone in with black. So yeah, here we are. 24 hours later, we are sealing. I'm going to talk about sealing again, and I'm probably going to mention it a few more times. Jesmonite needs 2 coats. You can put more if you want, but the instructions on the website say 2 coats. The first coat needs to be diluted with 20% water. So if you're mixing up 100 grams, you need 20 grams to be water, 80 grams of the actual neat pigment. This is how I seal. I use a cheap kitchen sponge. I rub on that first coat, I soak it on, saturate it, rub it all over, and then I brush it off with a dry sponge. But I'm not completely taking it off, I'm just getting rid of any streaks that are left by the wetness of the wet sponge and trying to reduce the streaks. I know streaks is a big problem for people. Here you go. You can see streaks in the light. The sun is shining, luckily for me. You can still see those streaks. So I just go over with a dry brush, rub it all over, and it's not removing the sealer. The sealer is still there doing its job, but here you go. no more streaks. I've rubbed it over with the dry, and yeah, I'm so happy. Here we are, all finished off, cork backs with my stamp on. From what they started as to what they've ended up as, completely different products. I'm so happy. I hope this method of fixing your terrazzo you found helpful. Remember, you can use your original backing colour, any colour you want to fix. It really works. So thank you so much, and yeah, I hope you found it helpful. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!